authorizations for COVID-19 vaccine made by Sinovac. Vaccinations program as a positive catalyst for Jakarta Composite Index. Good afternoon, viewers in Indonesia and Singapore. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of informations from business, economic, and capital market sector. With me, Lantai, and this is Market Headlines. Food and Drug Supervisor, or BPOM, finally gave emergency use authorizations for Sinovac COVID-19 vaccines. The agency stated that the COVID-19 vaccines has met all the requirements made by the agency.
The Food and Drug Supervisory Agency, or BPOM, officially issued an emergency use authorization for COVID-19 vaccine made by Sinovac. This was conveyed directly by the head of the Food and Drug Supervisory Agency, or BPOM, Penny Lukito, in a press conference which was held virtually on Monday afternoon. BPOM stated that the issuance of EUA for the CoronaVac vaccine because the vaccine made by Sinovac China has met the WHO standard in terms of safety, efficacy, and quality.
Efekasi vaksin sebesar 65,3% dari hasil uji klinik di Bandung menunjukkan harapan bahwa vaksin ini mampu untuk menurunkan kejadian penyakit COVID-19 hingga 65,3%. Oleh karena itu, pada hari ini, Senin, tanggal 11 Januari 2021, Badan POM memberikan persetujuan penggunaan dalam kondisi emergency authorization untuk vaksin COVID-19 yang pertama kali kepada vaksin CoronaVac produksi Sinovac Biotech Incorporated yang bekerjasama dengan PT Bio Farma.
Meanwhile, the Indonesian government is known to be starting a vaccination program in January 2021 and is targeted to be completed for the next 15 months. President Joko Widodo has also been confirmed to be the first person to receive the vaccine, which is planned to be carried out on January 13, 2021. From Jakarta, Devri Prihatiningsih for IDX Channel.
Finally, 15 million doses of raw material of COVID-19 vaccines has arrived in Indonesia.
As many as 15 million raw materials for the COVID-19 vaccine from Sinovac are scheduled to arrive in Indonesia today. Minister of Health Budi Gunadi Sadikin said that the raw materials for vaccines from Sinovac will be processed immediately by Bio Farma upon arrival in Indonesia. The plan is that 15 million of these raw materials can be processed to become 12 million vaccine doses in early February. In the process, the Minister of Health asked all parties to help distribute vaccines in the near future because there are still obstacles in distribution in various regions.
Satu vaksin akan datang insya Allah besok dari Sinovac. Ini akan bisa diproses oleh Bio Farma dalam jangka waktu 1 bulan. Sehingga nanti di awal Februari kita sudah punya 12 juta vaksin jadi dari 15 juta bahan baku ini. Ada berita baik juga disampaikan oleh Ibu Menlu. Kerjasama multilateral kita dengan Gavi juga kelihatannya akan menghasilkan keputusan yang baik. Diharapkan bahwa minimal 54 juta dosis, maksimal bisa menjadi 108 juta dosis.
Previously, President Joko Widodo asked the COVID-19 vaccination program to be completed in less than a year. The target was faster than the target of the Minister of Health for 15 months and would target 181.5 million people. From Jakarta, Raharjo Patmu for IDX Channel.
Moving on to the next coverage, President Joko Widodo reminded his cabinet to be aware of the potential food crisis due to COVID-19 pandemic, as had been warned by the World Food and Agriculture Organization. President at the opening of 2021 Agricultural Development National Work Meeting delivered some strict notes to public. He asserted that given Indonesians' populations of more than 270 million, food management must be taken seriously in detail, particularly for those imported agricultural commodities. The potential for a food shortage could occur due to restrictions of community activities and led to the restrictions on the distributions of goods between countries.
Kita tahu FAO memperingatkan potensi terjadinya krisis pangan. Hati-hati mengenai ini. Hati-hati. Akibat pembatasan mobilitas warga dan bahkan distribusi barang antar negara, distribusi pangan dunia menjadi terkendala. Dan kita tahu beberapa minggu hari terakhir ini urusan yang berkaitan dengan tahu dan tempe, kedelai menjadi masalah.
Soybean is an important food for people of Indonesia and has been included in the National Food Program, but sadly the price is going unreachable, and even worse, government predicted that the price will keep surging these days. Soybean is one of important food commodity in Indonesia. However, the price of soybeans in the market has increased from 6,500 rupiah to 9,500 rupiah these days. As there is no sign to stop yet, Minister of Trade Muhammad Lutfi predicted that the price of soybeans as a main raw material for making tofu and tempe will continue to go up. The minister said that the cause was the increase in international soybean prices due to high demand while limited supplies.
Karena kedelai ini harganya akan menguat terus mungkin sampai akhir Mei 2021, kami baru melihat bahwa harga, karena memang hasil daripada crop di tahun 2021 ini dinyatakan baik, dan Brazil akan kembali kepada produksi mungkin lebih baik daripada tahun-tahun sebelumnya. Jadi kami melihat bahwa harga ini akan menguat terus sampai dengan akhir Mei. Mudah-mudahan Juni sudah mulai membaik, dan selama harga landed cost daripada kedelai di atas 8.000, kami akan menjadi penengah antara pengrajin dan pasar untuk memberitahukan berapa harga tahu dan tempe yang wajar.
Prior to that, he confirmed that his party would continue to monitor the movement of soybean prices at the market level so that the price hikes will not be too high. From Jakarta, Muhammad Oga for IDX Channel. Market headlines will be right back after this quick break. Stay tuned.
Pergerakan indeks harga saham gabungan di sepanjang perdagangan hari ini tertekan, level 5 ribuan kembali ditinggalkan. Bagaimana analisis Anda?
Masih ada peluang turun lebih lanjut. Kalau misalkan regionalnya memerah, nah maka tidak tertutup kemungkinan kita juga akan ketularan kan.
Dan beberapa perbankan yang diduga melakukan transaksi mencurigakan, dan semoga bisa menjadi salah satu referensi untuk Anda dan seperti apa ke depannya.
Yes, viewers, President Joko Widodo loudly criticized the increase in agricultural export products. And the president mentioned that higher exports was only supported by palm oil commodities, while other subsidized commodities did not contribute to agricultural export performance.
President Joko Widodo loudly criticized the increase in agricultural product exports. The president mentioned that higher exports was only supported by palm oil commodity, while the other subsidized commodities did not contribute to agricultural export performance. This was conveyed at the opening of the 2021 National Working Meeting of Agricultural Development.
Berapa puluh tahun kita subsidi pupuk? Setahun berapa subsidi pupuk? 30-an triliun. Berapa Bu Menteri Keuangan? 33 seingat saya. 33 triliun setiap tahun. Returnnya apa? Kita beri pupuk itu kembaliannya ke kita apa? Apakah produksi melompat naik? 33 triliun. Bapak, Ibu, dan saudara-saudari, angka itu besar sekali. Artinya tolong ini dievaluasi, ini ada yang salah. Sudah berkali-kali meminta ini, sehingga harga pokok produksinya nanti bisa bersaing dengan harga komoditas yang sama dari negara-negara lain.
Therefore, President Jokowi asked all ministers to evaluate the provision of fertilizer subsidies. This includes evaluating the performance of the agricultural sector, because he revealed that distribution of fertilizer subsidies, which is worth almost 33 trillion rupiah per year, is not even followed by an increase in production. Meanwhile, the statement regarding the increase in exports of agricultural products was based on data from the Central Statistics Agency, where in November 2020, the value of agricultural exports rose 6.33% to $450 million. BPS say that the increase in exports was mainly contributed or supported by the palm oil commodity. From all sources, for IDX Channel.
Although the agricultural sector is one of the growing sectors in the midst of pandemic, but criticism of this sector has not been disappeared. Even this time, the criticism came directly from President Joko Widodo. So what are the things that have been criticized by the president regarding the agricultural sector? So let's talk about it in the following infographic. Through your screen, we can see what President said towards the agricultural export. He said literally about the appreciations behind the good growth in the agricultural sector, but however, he mentioned loudly to Erlangga Hartarto to be careful because it seems like palm oil that contribute high exports, not other commodity. Exports are not from other commodities that already injected with the existing subsidies. He said in his remarks on the National Coordinating Meeting for Agricultural Development 2021. And then even so, the president firmly criticized the export achievement of the agricultural sector, which according to him were still dominated by palm oil commodity. Meanwhile, the president stated that the government had provided sufficient stimulus for the agricultural sector, which was expected to be main motor of the productivity of agricultural sector, not only the palm oil commodity. Call it fertilizer subsidy program that has been run for years by the government. And therefore, President Joko Widodo asked all ministers to evaluate the provisions of the fertilizer subsidies, including evaluating the performance of the agricultural sector. So before we talk further about fertilizer subsidies, let's firstly check Indonesia's agricultural export data as of November 2020 in the next graphic. Through your screen, we can see Indonesia's agricultural export data from both sides from November 2020 alone and between the accumulations from January to November 2020. Through the data, we can see that the total value of agricultural export is 450 million US dollar by the total value, and it means that this number contributes 2.92% of the total Indonesia's export. And it means that it grew by 33.3% year-on-year. But however, if we can see the accumulations between January to November 2020, the total value is 3.68 billion US dollar, with a total export of 2.51% of the whole GDP. And indeed, through the data, we can see that the growing exports can be seen, but it must be admitted that the agricultural exports were still dominated by palm oil, which was confirmed by the head of the BPS, Suharyanto, during a press conference on last December. And viewers, this is the main point of the criticism, because the president hopes that other commodities that are subsidized by the government can contribute more to the performance of the agricultural exports. And in this harsh criticism, the president emphasized the need to evaluate the fertilizer subsidy program. But however, how big is the allocations for the fertilizer subsidy each year? So we can see it through the next graphic. Through your screen, we can see fertilizer subsidy allocation. First of all, we have two categories in here about the subsidy quota and the budget allocations. First of all, from 2017, the subsidy quota that government has given is 8.55 million of tons, and it went high significantly by 1 million. In 2018, we can see through the data, the number reached 9.55 million tons, and we've gone to 9.1 million tons. And by the latest data in 2020, as we know that government bear a lot of tons by 8.9 million tons of subsidy fertilizer. And President Joko Widodo questioned the effectiveness of fertilizer subsidies distributions. The president assessed that the injection of fertilizer subsidies for farmers has not contributed significantly to the country. With a fairly high tone, President admitted that he was surprised that the tens of trillions of funds distributed has not made significant contributions yet. Meanwhile, based on the observations, problem also occurred in the field related to distributions of the subsidized fertilizer, where in September 2020, farmers in several areas experienced shortage of subsidized fertilizers. And a part of that, leakage of fertilizer subsidies is also a major concern. Not only criticizing the issue of fertilizer subsidy, but food estate has also been an issue the president has underlined, whereas President Joko Widodo asked the food estate program to be completed as soon as possible. So what food estate projects is the government working on? So let's see it through the next graphic. Through your screen, we can see the food estate project that is targeted in 2021. First of all, we got two categories in here. It is North Sumatra and Central Kalimantan. Let's start it first from the North Sumatra by 30,000 hectares that is divided into 4 regencies. We can see it through the data. It's Humbangan Sudutan Regency, North Tapanuli, Central Tapanuli, and Papua Barat. And meanwhile, when moving on to the Central Kalimantan, which only 164 hectares, it divided into 2 regencies, which is Pulang Pisau and Kapuas Regency. And here it is. President Joko Widodo asked for the completions of these food estate program in North Sumatra and Central Kalimantan this year, where he sees food program as the solutions of a problem of food imports. The hope is that food estate in the North Sumatra and Central Kalimantan can become a reference for other provinces so that it can overcome the problem in food imports. And in addition, the president also asked the evaluations of the food estate program, including technological issues. And yes, the viewers, hopefully the president's criticism will be a major turning point for a better Indonesia's agricultural sector and will be beneficial for the country as well. We'll be right back after this quick break. Stay tuned.
Market hari ini sudah dibuka dan menghijau. Begitu Anda ada di zona positif, akankah ini terus berlanjut?
Saya masih mencermati untuk saham-saham ini ya, tambangan, saham alam putra nih ya, asli kan kemarin belum naik, ini potensi naik.
Kementerian Pariwisata dan Ekonomi Kreatif telah menyiapkan 3 program yang menjadi langkah awal untuk membangkitkan pariwisata di tahun 2021.
Pemerintah menegaskan bahwa di awal tahun 2021 ini tetap fokus pada aspek kesehatan masyarakat.
Kita melihat bahwa tren positif itu terjadi karena pertumbuhan kuartal ke kuartal itu sudah di 5,05%.
Pemerintah memastikan akan mengubah bantuan sosial di wilayah Jabodetabek dari skema bantuan sembako menjadi bantuan langsung tunai.
Senang sekali saya David San Oval dan dapat hadir menemani Anda dalam program spesial dialog webinar on TV.
Setiap minggunya kita akan membahas tema-tema yang sangat menarik. Apa kabar ibu-ibu sekalian?
Alhamdulillah baik.
Salah satu ambisi daripada Kementerian Koperasi dan UMKM bersama Spesco adalah koperasi keren, baru, digital gitu kan, yang kita bisa IT.
Ya halo pemirsa, nama saya Mangivera Tjong. Saat ini saya menjabat sebagai presenter dan juga associate producer. Saat ini saya membawakan program IDX Session Closing, di mana di program tersebut saya menganalisa isu-isu ekonomi yang menarik, baik dari luar negeri maupun juga dari dalam negeri. Tentunya hingga saat ini saya masih terus belajar dan saya sangat menikmati profesi tersebut. Kementerian Pariwisata dan Ekonomi Kreatif telah menyiapkan 3 program yang menjadi langkah awal untuk membangkitkan pariwisata di tahun 2021.
Pemerintah menegaskan tetap fokus pada aspek kesehatan masyarakat.
Welcome back to Market Headlines. So viewers, let's take a look at Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement. So earlier today, JCI was open at the level of 6,431.53, and then approaching the closing time in the first session, the index was on the level of 6,396.04. And then the index was showing strengthening trend by the second session closing time. The index was closed at the level of 6,392.16. In short, JCI went up 0.14%. Next, we are going to see the sectoral movement. Leading the dynamics of today's trading, we got constructions as the leader of the strengthening trend that went up 1.41%. Mixed industry that went up 0.84%. Agriculture went down 2.06%. And infrastructure also went down by 1.16%. Moving on to the top gainers and the top losers. Here are the key highlights from today's trading sessions. Antam went up 7.36%. We got BRIS that went up 23.68%. We got BBKP, also from the bank sector, that went up 24.59%. And KAEF that went up 8.14%. And meantime, for the top losers for today's trading, we got KLBF that went down 4.55%. We got BBCA that went down 2.52%. We got TLKM that went down 2.5%. And Adaro that went down 3.28%. Next, we're going to see the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. So rupiah opened at a level of 14,163. Rupiah was also showing weakening trend towards US dollar. I was closed at the level of 14,348. In summary, rupiah went down 1.31%. The capital market analyst sees that the Jakarta Composite Index will stay in a positive territory for at least 1 week ahead. The observers say that the national vaccinations program as the main positive catalyst for the index.
The capital market analyst is optimistic that the national vaccination program, which will be started on January 13, 2021, can be the positive catalyst for Jakarta Composite Index movement. The analyst assessed that the vaccination as starting point for a better national economic recovery.
Terutama dipengaruhi oleh sentimen positif dari mulai dijalankannya program vaksinasi nasional, di mana kita tahu nanti tanggal 13 Januari itu Presiden kita Joko Widodo akan menerima suntikan pertama vaksin Sinovac.
The analyst explained that the vaccination program is a sign of government seriousness in handling the COVID-19 pandemic. In the same time, the analyst also recommended some sectors for investors, such as banking, coal mining, and retail sectors. From Jakarta, Gilang Praditya for IDX Channel.
Moving on to the construction sector, Sumerikan Agung's marketing sales 2020 successfully become the catalyst that sent its income figure to go beyond. And throughout 2020, the company booked 3.3 trillion rupiah marketing sales.
At first place, the company pushed back its initial target, but things went better than expected. Marketing sales throughout 2020 were better than the revised target that had been submitted, which was 2.5 trillion. While the initial target for 2020 marketing sales is 4.5 trillion. Sumerikan Agung Corporate Secretary Jamie Kusnadi estimates that in 2021, the property market conditions will be better, but the recovery will still be gradual. Sumerikan Agung is still calculating its 2021 marketing sales target while looking at the conditions at the beginning of the year. This year, the company has planned some interesting new products as relatively low interest rates make property products more attractive. From all sources, IDX Channel.
Step aside from market conditions, as coronavirus pandemic takes a big role on current economic situations, here it is an update data about coronavirus globally. And the news close our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, Your Trustworthy Economic, Business and Capital Market Channel. I'm Claranta Wijaya. Have a nice evening and stay safe.
Kementerian Pariwisata dan Ekonomi Kreatif telah menyiapkan 3 program yang menjadi